Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Waypan. I'm Cal.
And I'm Sunny.
And today's topic is upwards comparisons and
why it's bad for you.
So, Sunny, what is an upwards comparison?
It's a phenomenon where you compare yourself to someone you consider to be superior to you.
This may come as a well duh, but this term comes from psychology and the world of understanding motivation and self-esteem. So, Sunny, why would we be talking about upwards comparisons, self-esteem and motivation on a painting podcast?
Well, Cal, I'm sure this comes as another shocker, but it's a conundrum all creative people face. And especially for mini painters, I'm sure there's lots of us out there, even yourself, who think you're not good enough for your hobby.
Shocking.
Shock!
So much of a shock, in fact, that last time that we recorded this podcast, you wanted me to quote directly from one of my blogs. So, here we go. Let me get into character.
I want you to imagine a game. Your side is just you, but that's it. The other side has the most talented psychologists the world has ever known. So talented, the research will never be shared publicly due to it being considered trade secrets. Medical experts, not just doctors, but also sports scientists, nutritionists, and other specializations you don't fully understand. Finally, a legion. At this stage, what can only be described as technomancers, such as their control of technology. These are your opponents. The stakes of this game, your very soul, all of your me, your mental well-being and your physical health. If they win, they do get to take it.
If you win, they don't get to take it.
Well, yeah, there's that too. So, Sunny, why was it that you wanted me to bring up that?
Well, I think it perfectly summarizes exactly what social media is and why people have such a problem with upwards comparisons with the way it's actually designed.
So it was a bit of an overly dramatic reading there. Can you drill down more specifically to what you think is important there?
Okay, for example, Instagram. It seems to be where everyone goes to post their pictures, their artworks, you name it, right? Mm-hmm. But the problem with Instagram is the algorithm is put up in such a way that it wants you to curate things to look a certain way. It's gallery format.
And it wants you to post all the time as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And you have to do it in such a way that it has a story. There's like a sequence to it. It's very planned. It's not good for work in progresses. It's not good for spontaneous things.
And this is why I think you wanted me to do that reading, because this came from my blog, Why Work in Progresses Are Important. And essentially my point was this, that social media isn't good for putting up works in progresses, but that's how you help your mental health, your mental well-being, because when you see these works in progress, you go, oh, nothing starts finished. That's ridiculous. Why would I ever think of such a thing?
Yes, so when you start seeing finished, polished work, you're gonna go and see that, hey, I could never do that. How could I ever meet that type of level? And you don't see all the mistakes that were made, all the endless hours reworking it. Sometimes you make...
Correcting it.
Yeah, correcting it, and then you make bad decisions some of the times, and you have to find a way to cover it up.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the problem, but what's the solution?
The solution is you need to start seeing more people doing the work in real life. Okay, so we've talked about the negatives of social media, but the positives of social media is that it's really good for helping you meet people. In fact, that's how it started out, like Facebook. It's helping you to meet people. So Cal, where's a good place for artists to go to meet people?
And thus we have the problem. So, as you know, I used to run this channel primarily as feedback for a small group of artists who were just plowing away, just plugging away at their stuff. And it was my way of encouraging a community, which I was very successful at the time. But the problem is this: where do you do it? How do you get new people into this? And how do you stop it just becoming the exact thing we described, where it's just people showing off their stuff? Because that's what the algorithm wants. The algorithm doesn't want the common man, doesn't want somebody slogging through things, working up to something. No, they want finished products. They want finished products every single day. That's why they want professional teams. They want professional teams put together to work as hard as they possibly can to smash things out and to have unachievable, unrealistic goals to compare to, because that creates envy, which creates interaction.
All right. So, what about Facebook groups? Is that a good place to start?
Well, it's definitely a good point to cut off my ranting, but Facebook groups are good because it's a select group of people. However, you run into the problem of it's Facebook.
So, what are some things that Facebook does to create problems for groups?
Well, for example, I'm not a verified person because unless I give my government ID or birth certificate or passport, then I'm not a real person to them.
Oh my gosh. But they're not even a government body. We don't have to give them any of this information.
Oh, that doesn't matter. They just want my data. The inherent problem with social media is that it's going to be run by big tech. Big tech's agenda is they're going to collect data because data is how they gain profit. It's not a conspiracy. Everybody knows it.
But that's the thing. You don't actually have to fall for this trap every single time. So coming back to the solution, meeting people in real life. You can use social media to your advantage, right? So supporting your local gaming groups, joining their communities online, making an effort to arrange meetups in real life, going down to the shops itself and see people painting there and then asking questions. You see for yourself exactly what's going on. And you'll be less likely to compare yourself because you're seeing the process.
That's true. But also, here's another thing. The store owner of our local store said to me, just put everything up, right? But by the same token, there's another local commission painter who you had an interaction with.
Yes, and he said he doesn't like looking at his own pictures of his own work because he can see all the mistakes, the cracks, this, that, and the other.
I can see that too with my work. That's what I look at. Like, you remember the blog, all I see is mistakes.
Yes, exactly. But that's the point. I think that's what our shop owner was trying to say. Put it up regardless, because the more you put it up, the more you'll feel that sense of accomplishment, and you're not going to constantly be thinking about mistakes. You're thinking about, hey, I did something.
Also, I think if you do it as a part of your process, you become less obsessive. You become less fixated on, oh, look at that error. And you just go, this is what I do. I finish a work, I take pictures, I put it up. Sometimes I get good responses, sometimes I don't get enough response.
Yes, but that's why meeting up in real life is also good, because you don't constrain yourself to how many likes, how many people have seen it. Because there are lots of people who are looking at things in the background, but they're just not clicking the like button. But you go down, you show people your stuff.
And sometimes people just forget to like. They're like, oh no, I liked it. When you talk to them in real life, you're like, you did? Yeah.
Yeah, they see it. They actually see it. So that's why it's so important to go down yourself, meet people in real life, talk to people in real life. You'll find that it's a completely different story, completely different environment. And that's how you help yourself with the case of upwards comparison.
So the solution is just put your stuff up and show it off locally.
And you know what the other solution is?
To keep those brushes wet.